Hi yogis, thank you so much for joining me in today's practice, Yoga for the Mind, a moving meditation. We're really going to utilize breath as a way to guide and lead our movement today. So our breath will actually begin before any movement, and in this way our mind is going to be called to the process. It's going to be drawn right into our experience, and we're going to open up a space where it's completely safe to allow any thoughts to pop in and visit us, so that we have the power to acknowledge, notice, be okay with it, and then draw right back to our center into our strength of our breath. So we're going to start and get right down, lying down on the ground. It's always a nice and easy place to start. And we're going to go ahead and bend our knees and draw your spine to a comfortable place on the mat. As you come all the way down, notice where would be most comfortable for your lower back. Is it most comfortable if the arch is lifted a little high off the mat? Or would it be more comfortable for you to draw the belly in and flatten the lower back towards the ground? Release the hands alongside the hips with the palms facing up and begin to close the eyes. Notice the weight of your hips on the mat. And allow them to feel heavy here. Allow them to provide you with a sense of grounding in connection to the support of the ground beneath you. Notice your physical body today. Any sensations, areas of ease, or areas of tension. Bring your awareness up towards your belly. Soften the belly. Allow your breath to gently move into the belly as you breathe in. Allow the belly to relax back towards the spine as you breathe out. Notice your energy levels today. Do you have a lot of energy? A good preserve? Or are you feeling a little low? Notice your breath. Is it short? Is it long? Do you feel it primarily in the chest? Or can you guide it down to the depths of your belly? Our breath is the direct link to our energetic body. Breathing in through our nose, filling up the belly, and releasing the weight of the belly back towards the spine as you empty the breath out of the chest. Draw your awareness up towards the chest now, the seat of your emotions. Noticing any feelings that are present today, or maybe any feelings that have been present in the days leading up to today. Allow anything here to be welcome. Take a breath into the upper abdomen. Allow it to rise up the spine, filling up the ribs. As you exhale, soften the belly first and empty the ribs second. With curiosity, guide your awareness up towards your mind. Notice what mental conversation is present for you today. What thoughts are dominating the landscape of your mind? Without tucking anything away, invite whatever is here to be here. Breathing into the belly, feeling the breath rise up into the ribs, into the chest. Allowing the belly to release, softening the ribs, and emptying the chest. Full yogic breath, breathing in through the nose, drawing down, feeling it rise up into the chest, collarbones, sides of the ribs. As you exhale, gently draw the navel back towards the spine. Soften the ribs, emptying the rest of the breath out of the chest. Breathing into the abdomen, filling the sides of the ribs, Feeling the upper back press into the mat, chest expand. Exhale, navel drawing in, relax the ribs, soften the chest, soften the shoulders. On your next breath in, allow your inhale to inflate the arms up and over your head. Start your inhale first. After you feel the ribs expanding, begin to lift the arms up into the floor behind you. At the top of the inhale, the arms will touch the ground. Begin your exhale, drawing the navel in, reaching the hands up to the ceiling, and drawing them back down by your hips as the chest empties out the rest of the breath. Starting your breath in here into the abdomen, feeling it rise into the ribs, lifting the arms up and overhead as you keep the chest expanding. Exhale, drawing the navel in, like you're moving through molasses, bringing the hands back down by the hips, ending the breath as the hands touch the ground. One more time, expanding the lower ribs, feeling it rise up into the chest, the shoulders, arms lifting overhead. This time, as you exhale, drawing the navel in, the right knee into your chest, and the hands down by the hips. Finish the breath out. Begin your breath in, inhaling the arms up overhead, releasing the right foot back down to the mat. Exhale, drawing the navel in, left knee towards your chest, hands lower by your hips. The movement ends when the breath out ends. Your movement begins a second after your inhale begins. Allow your inhalation to create this feeling of expansion, and your exhalation, drawing the navel in, drawing a knee in as the hands come down, create a sense of safety and stability. 2 more rounds, inhaling the arms up and overhead, releasing the foot, and exhaling the hands down to draw the opposite knee in. Feeling the texture of the breath on the back of the throat, and the movement of the spine as you breathe. As you finish, allow your exhale to lead your hands down by the hips and both feet resting on the ground. Draw both knees into your chest. Bring one hand behind each knee. Allow the heels to stay heavy at the hips, the elbows to soften, the shoulders to soften, and the musculature of the face to soften. Start your breath in, lifting up through the right heel, gradually drawing the toes back. As you exhale, gently drawing the navel in as the right heel drops back towards the right hip. Begin the breath first. Feel the left heel start to lift up. The leg comes to its longest extent at the top of the inhalation and begins drawing down after the exhalation. Feel as though the breath is wrapping around the movement, beginning before and ending after. And you may practice this with your eyes closed as a symbol for looking inward, or you can keep the eyes open if the mind is more comfortable that way. Finishing the round you're on. And releasing both knees into your chest, wrapping the arms around the shin and giving your low back a little lengthening. You might even rock from side to side if that's comfortable. Begin to roll over onto one side or rock up and down the spine, coming all the way up to a tabletop position with your hands underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. I want you to imagine you could spread the fingertips out really wide, as if you could flare the fingertips away from the thumbs more than you're used to doing. Feel a sense of stickiness in the palms so that they're not moving anywhere on the mat. The knees are right underneath the hips. The elbows are nice and soft. The shoulders are relaxed. We'll release the gaze right down in between our thumbs. And as you breathe in, feel the breath come into the upper back. As you exhale, start drawing the navel in, releasing the forearms down, and guiding the hips halfway back towards the heels. Start the breath in first. Allow the movement to follow, shifting back into tabletop, shoulders over wrists. Feel the length of the back of the neck. And as you exhale, draw the belly in. Release the forearms down heavy. Draw the hips back a little further. Experiencing this with your eyes closed or open, keeping the breath the main player of your practice, and the movement as a secondary aspect. The next time you breathe in, begin to drop the belly down towards the ground, bend the elbows, take the gaze up. Exhale, neutral spine, begin drawing the hips back, releasing the weight of the head down. Inhaling up to tabletop. Pulling the chest through the shoulders, dropping the belly as the gaze comes up. And exhaling as you neutralize the spine and draw the hips back towards the heels. You can stay here, or as you inhale, you can pull the hips all the way down to the mat and press the tops of the feet in the ground, softening the elbows for an upward facing dog. Exhale, drawing the belly back, releasing the weight of the forearms, the head, and dropping the hips back towards the heels. One more round in whichever variation suits your body best, allowing the breath to guide the movement. Feeling the inhalation extend the upper spine, and the exhalation draw the navel back and soothe the lower spine. Breathing all the way back up into tabletop. Tuck the toes. Press down through the hands, hover the knees off for just one moment. Notice the pressure in the wrists, and if this is something that feels good, you can shift the hips back into downward facing dog. Or if this pressure on the wrists is not healthy or therapeutic for you today, you can walk the hands up and come right up to standing. Some of us practice downward facing dog, and some of us will spend 5 breaths here. For those of us standing, feel the presence of your weight in the feet and notice the breath's effect on your spine there. If you're in downward facing dog, soften the elbows, soften the knees, and begin your walk up towards the hands. As you walk forward, drop the hips back, open the arms out to a T. Inhale, lifting the chest all the way up to standing, strengthening the legs, and exhaling the hands down so that we're all in a mountain Tadasana pose. And we'll start with our feet about hip width apart. Spread the toes out wide so that you can feel the presence of the ground beneath you. You might even rock back and forth to spread out the weight of your body in equal parts of the foot. Notice the knees here and see if you could soften the knees a little bit. You could imagine each joint as an energy center, and you don't want to block out any energy. If we lock out our knees, our lower back usually takes the brunt force. We'll bring both of our hands onto our belly and meet our 2 index fingers at the point of our navel. Close the eyes for a minute, soften the shoulders, soften the muscles in the belly. As you breathe in through the nose, feel the breath come into the belly, ballooning out into the fingertips. As you exhale, gently draw the belly back towards the spine. You may feel some slight toning underneath the fingertips. Inhaling into the belly, feeling it fill. Gradually and gently drawing the navel back to initiate your breath out. Taking a couple rounds of this breath and just noting the length of your inhalation and your exhalation. Finding a balance between the two so that they last somewhere around the same time, anywhere from 4 to 6 seconds. On your next exhale, after you draw the navel back towards the spine, keep that toning present in your lower abdomen and draw the hands to the lower portion of your ribs. As you breathe in, can you feel your ribs press into the back of your hands? Exhale, drawing the belly in. Release the breath out of the rib cage. Soften the muscles in the belly. Breathe into the upper abdomen. Feel it spread the rib cage east to west. Feel it rise up the spine into the shoulders. Exhale, drawing the navel in, and releasing the hands down by the hips. Return your presence back into your feet. Soften the knees if they've already locked out. We're going to allow our breath to lead our movement as our arms lift. So the breath will begin first. We'll notice the ribs expanding. And after feeling the ribs expanding, our arms will start to inflate out and up. It looks something like this. Once you come to the top of your inhale, allow your exhale to release the hands down just like feathers. Allow the breath to finish. Start the breath in here. Begin your movement with the arms out and up, lifting as long as you're inhaling, exhaling the moment your inhale stops, and releasing the hands down. Sometimes it helps to close the eyes and imagine you're moving your arms through water. Feel the fullness in the back of the ribs as you breathe in, and the toning of the lower abdomen, drawing your navel back towards your spine as you breathe out. Exhaling the hands down by the hips. And bring the right palm to face the right thigh. That left hand, as you start to breathe in, will rotate outwards. The palm will start to face away. Keep breathing in as the arm lifts up alongside your ear. As you exhale, draw the navel in and begin to side bend towards the right. The right hand will slide down the right thigh. As you breathe in, allow that to lift your spine up. Reach the right arm up in line with the left. Exhale, drawing the belly in. Slide the left hand down the left leg, side bending over towards the left with the right arm. Your inhale rotates the left arm out and up. Expand the rib cage, lifting it away from the hips. Exhale, right palm to right thigh, navel towards your spine as you side bend over to the right. Inhaling up, rotating the right shoulder out, lifting it out wide. Exhale, left hand alongside left thigh, sliding it down the leg. Noticing the presence of your breath. And starting your inhale a moment before you begin your lift back up. Start to bend the knees, draw the belly in as you start your fold forward. You can bring your hands to your upper thighs and slide them down the legs. Release the weight of the head towards the mat. Allow the back of the neck to iron out so there's no wrinkles. And you might offer the weight of the head, yes and no. If you feel any pulling anywhere, soften the knees a little bit more, soften the shoulders. Take a full breath in. As you exhale, sit the hips back into an imaginary chair. Drop the gaze onto the ground. Keep the gaze neutral. Start your breath in, opening the arms out to a T. Continue breathing in, peeling the chest up, straightening through the legs all the way up to standing. As you exhale, draw the belly in, begin folding immediately, softening the knees, breathing out the entire time you're moving down. Sitting the hips back, keeping the gaze neutral as you inhale, open the arms out to a T, peel the chest up first, keep the ribs expanding as you inhale all the way up to standing. Exhaling back into a soft forward fold. Allowing the weight of the head to drop completely. Then inhaling the arms out, peeling the chest up first, lifting all the way up to standing. Exhale the hands down by the hips. Shift the weight of your body into your right foot and step the left foot back. This can be a small stance, or it could be a big stance, depending on what feels best. And we're gonna take the right foot over to the right, just heel toe it over to the side a little bit so that we can create some space within your hips. You might even consider micro bending the back knee if you feel any twisting or pulling from that region. Bring both of your hands around your heart, just the fingertips to touch. Connect your gaze point to somewhere on the ground, something that's not moving. Our mind is often pulled outside of us through our senses, so if we can start to discipline our senses, we can train the mind. Start your breath in, feel the ribs expand. Begin bending the front knee and reaching the hands towards the ground. Feel the ribs expand, expand, expand. As you exhale, begin drawing the navel back, straightening the front leg, and wrapping the hands back around the chest. The breath begins first. The movement happens second. Bend the knee, open the arms out wide. Your exhale begins here, drawing the navel in, straightening the leg out, wrapping the hands around the chest. The leg will become completely straight at the end of your breath out. Continue moving just like this in your own body, softening where you need to, allowing the length of your breath to guide the length of your movement. Feeling the fullness of the ribs as you breathe in and inflate the arms away from you. And feeling the strength of the lower abdomen as you draw the navel in and lead yourself back. Take one more breath in, expanding the ribs, opening the arms out wide, bending the front knee. And as you exhale, release the hands down by the hips. Move the weight into the right foot and gently step the left foot up. Equal out the weight in both feet and bring both hands to your belly once again. Draw your breath down into the depths of your belly. As you exhale, draw your navel back, soften the knees, and sit the hips back into a high chair, lengthening out the lower back. Starting your inhale and allowing that to lead you up. Filling the belly, exhaling to draw the navel away, and sitting the hips back into a high chair. Taking 2 more rounds of this breath and movement. Noticing how the movement of the breath affects the movement of the spine. Allow your next inhale to bring you back up to standing. Rotate the palms away from you. Lift up and wide through the arms. Lift the gaze. And exhale, release the hands down. Shift the weight into your left foot. We'll step our right foot back, seal the heel down. Move the left foot over to the side as much as you need to create space in the hips. Micro bending that back knee as you need to. Wrapping the hands around the chest for presence and connection to the breath. Softening the eyes to a close, or guiding the eyes to one drishti, one focal point. The front leg will start straight. Allow the breath in to come in first. As the breath starts to get bigger, so does the movement. The arms shift away from the midline, the front knee bends. Exhale guides you all the way back. The hands touch the chest at the end of the breath out. Noticing the rib cage as if it was a hot air balloon, your breath filling it up, lifting it higher and higher away from the hips. And with your exhale, relaxing it back down. Spreading the toes out, feeling the ground. Noticing the temperature of the air that you're moving through, and also the speed in which you're moving. Coming into Warrior One for one last round. Exhale, releasing the hands down by the hips, shifting the weight of the body into the left foot, and taking a nice step up to the top of the mat. Bring the feet out a little bit wider, and as you breathe in, sit the hips back, lift the arms up. As you exhale, release the hands behind you, drop the chest to the thighs. Inhale with momentum, lift up through the arms, straighten the legs. Exhale, bend the knees, chest to thighs, reach the hands back. One more time, inhale to lift, fill up the ribs. Exhale to release down. Lift all the way up to standing. Exhale the hands down by the hips. Move the weight of your body into your right foot and step the left foot back. Open the hips up to the left side of the mat. The back foot's going to be drawn in about 45 degrees. It should feel comfortable for the ankle, and if it doesn't, we can modify. You can move it out wider or draw it in more. If it's the knee that's a little cranky, micro bend it. Start with the front leg bent, and you can either bring that right hand onto your right thigh, or if it's comfortable, the right forearm onto your right thigh. If you're dropping the right forearm down, try to really encourage pressing down so that the chest doesn't cave down. Instead, it starts to open up and aid the movement of the breath. As you bring the breath in, lift the left arm up alongside the ear. Lift the gaze towards the fingertips. As you exhale, rotate the palm away from you, bring it behind the lower back, and drop the gaze down towards the right toes or the mat. Starting the breath in here, feeling the ribs expand, the left arm inflate up, gaze to fingertips. Exhale, navel draws in, left palm rotates away behind the lower back as the gaze drops down. Taking it within your own body, your own breath. Holding the left hand behind the lower back. As you inhale, press yourself up to warrior two. The arms will come out wide and the gaze will track right over the front fingertips. Exhale the hands to center. Step the left foot up to meet the right. Bring both hands to your belly. Take a breath in, this time coming onto your toes. Exhale, draw the belly in, lower the heels, sit back into a high chair. Moving the weight of your body into your left foot, that right foot steps back and seals down. Starting with a bent knee in the front leg, releasing the left hand onto the leg or releasing the left forearm onto the thigh. Rotating the chest up by pressing down through the forearm. As you breathe in, inflate the right arm up and alongside the ear, bringing the gaze towards the fingertips. As you exhale, rotating the palm away from you, drawing it behind the lower back as you shift the gaze towards the front toes. Inhaling, filling up the ribs, inflating the arm up alongside the ear, lifting the gaze. Exhaling as you draw it away from you, behind the lower back, dropping the gaze to the mat. Taking a couple rounds on your own breath, just noticing whatever you notice. What does this feel like? In what direction is your mind trying to be pulled in? If this is stressing out the mind, can we make the posture or the movement smaller and the presence of the breath a little bigger? With the right hand behind the lower back, use your breath in to begin lifting up to warrior two. Both arms reach out in opposite directions. The gaze drops over the front fingertips. Take a fresh breath in here. Exhaling to step up to the top of the mat. Bring both hands to heart center. Soften the knees, slide the hands down the legs. Close the eyes for a minute and forward fold. Shake the head out, yes and no if you need to. Bring the hands down to the mat. Step the feet back. Bring the knees down to the mat. Sit the hips back and lift the shoulders up over the hips so that we come to seated on our heels. If it's more comfortable for you to have the tops of your feet pressing into the ground, you can do that. You can choose which way is most comfy for you. And once you decide, we're going to come up onto our knees. As you breathe in, rotate the palms away from you. Feel the ribs expanding, lifting the arms up with the breath. As you exhale, bring both of them behind the lower back, lowering the chest towards the thighs as much as comfortable. Using the breath in to initiate your movement up, feeling the ribs expand, feeling the fullness of your back. Exhaling to draw the hands behind your lower back, lowering your chest toward your thighs. Closing the eyes, if that works for you. And drawing your awareness inward to guide the mind towards the breath. Release the hands down underneath the shoulders onto the mat, and we'll step our feet back and come all the way down onto our belly. Bring the hands out wide with the forearms resting down on the ground, and we'll tuck the chin in as much as we need to so that the forehead can comfortably rest on the ground without smushing the nose. Notice how comfortable the shoulders are here, and if you think they could be a little bit more comfortable by the hands coming out wider or the elbows drawing back further, allow that to happen. The tops of the feet will be pressing into the mat, and we'll start to energize our legs as if we were hugging the quads, the calves, to our bones and our legs. You might even feel the legs energized so much so that your knees lift off the mat. Notice if you're locking the knees or if you're just using your muscular strength to energize the area around them. As you start your breath in, feel the ribs expanding. Keep the gaze down on the mat and start to lift the crown of the head forward and up. As you exhale, draw the belly in. Feel the ribs deflate your forehead back down to the mat. Inhaling as you feel the spine the breath ride up the spine, filling up the ribs, arching the upper back. Exhaling to release down. Taking a couple rounds of breath just like that, keeping the gaze neutral on the ground. Feeling the legs stay present and energized. And taking 2 more rounds. And with your eyes closed, begin to roll over onto your spine with your knees bent. As you come lying down on your back, allow the arms to come out wide. Bring the feet a little bit wider than the hips. Notice the speed of your breath right now. And take a fresh round of breath in through the nose. And as you exhale, turn the belly to the right and allow the knees to follow you. Start your inhale here and then begin to lift the knees up through center. Start your exhale, turning the belly to the left and allowing the knees to follow you. Inhaling your knees up through center, rolling over the knife edges of the feet. As you exhale, the belly and the knees to the right. Allowing the breath to envelope around the movement in a way that it begins before and ends after it. Bringing your knees back up through center, walking the feet together. Bringing the hands on the thighs, lift one foot off the ground at a time, bringing one hand over each kneecap. Allow the weight of the legs to pull the arms nice and long. Take a full breath in. As you exhale, draw the navel back towards the spine, and then gently draw the knees halfway towards the chest. Inhaling into the belly, press the knees away from you. Exhale, drawing the belly in first, making space for the thighs to draw back towards the chest. Allowing your breath to guide your movement, and allowing the movement to be subtle, as if you're moving through molasses or honey. Release the feet back down to the ground. Bring the hand alongside the hips. Close the eyes if they're not already, and start to track the length of your breath, counting up until you reach the top of your inhale, and counting down from whatever number you reached as you exhale, leading yourself towards a 5 or 6 count breath. And once you feel connected to a 5 count breath, flip the palms down alongside the hips, bring the heels underneath the knees, align the head in the center of your shoulders. Start your breath in, and for 5 counts, lift the arms up and over your head as the hips gently lift off the ground. Lowering for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Expanding the ribs and inhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lowering as you exhale and draw the navel in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Continuing on your own breath, possibly adding in the suspension of your breath in at the top of your inhale for a moment or two before releasing back down. You may also explore holding the breath out at the bottom of your exhale before taking your next breath in. Notice the silence in these spaces. As you feel ready to, rest the hips back down onto the ground. Return back to a balanced breath, equal counts in, equal counts out. Bring the arms out wide. Flip the palms down. Draw the knees into the chest. Take a full breath in. And as you exhale, slowly and with control, move the knees towards the left armpit, curling them up. Rest there for 1 breath in. And as you exhale, draw the navel back towards the spine. Use that strength to lift the knees back up through center. Allow a breath to come into your ribs, your chest, your belly. As you exhale, curling the knees over towards the right armpit. Feeling the stretch on the left side as you breathe into the rib cage. Exhaling as you draw the navel in and shift the knees back up into your chest. Pause in the center for a breath in. Exhale, curling the knees towards the left armpit. Pause here for a breath in. Exhale to guide your knees back through center. Final breath in center. Exhaling the knees over towards the right. Pausing for a breath in here. Exhaling to draw the knees back through. Hugging the knees into your chest, wrapping the arms around the forearm, or wrapping the arms around the shins. And rocking the body from side to side. Begin to extend the legs out long onto the mat. Bring the hands alongside the hips. Notice how the lower back feels with the legs out long. And if you think it'd be more comfortable for you to bend the knees, allow you to adopt that shape instead. Feel the weight of the shoulders and the presence of the hips on the mat. Notice how the physical body feels and where your mind is at. Can you draw your mind into the processes of your breath? Breathing in through the nose, with a soft belly filling up the lower ribs, feeling it rise up the spine, filling up the upper back, the shoulders. Exhaling to release all of the breath within you. Taking a couple cleansing breaths in here. Releasing them out, not holding anything back. So many of us come into Shavasana and immediately check out. But can you continually direct the mind back into your experience right now, exactly as it is, with whatever is present for you? Drawing your mind back into the pathway of the breath. Noticing the natural movement of the spine when you take deep breaths in and deep breaths out. Keeping the eyes closed as you start to gently move the fingertips and the toes. Moving the wrists in circles. Moving the ankles in circles. And gently drawing the knees into your chest. And challenging yourself to keep the eyes closed as you come up to seated for our final breath practice. Finding a comfortable seat. Allow yourself to feel the weight of your body in your hips. Notice how the physical body feels. And draw your awareness up to the belly, softening the muscles in your belly. Noticing your energetic presence. Drawing the breath in through the nose, into the upper abdomen, and feeling it rise up the spine. Exhaling as the breath rolls back down the spine. Breathing in as you fill up the upper abdomen, the sides of the ribs, feeling the fullness of the shoulders and the upper back. Exhaling as the breath trails back down the spine. Imagine this breath as a scanner scanning the spine, keeping the muscles of the belly soft, allowing breath to press into the abdomen if it wishes to. Noticing the texture of your breath and how it feels on the back of your throat. Noticing the length of your breath in compared to your length of the breath out. And start to find a place of balance between both sides of the breath, coming in and out of your nose. Draw the index and the middle finger into your palm on the right hand and guide the right thumb to the right side of your nostril. Without sealing any side of your nostril, take a fresh breath in through both nostrils. Take a full breath out, emptying completely out of both nostrils. Seal the right nostril at the end of your breath out, taking your next breath in through the left nostril only. Filling up the ribs, the chest, the upper back. Sealing the left side as you're ready, and exhaling out of the right nostril. Releasing the belly first, and then the ribs and the chest. Breathing in through the right side, softening the belly, filling the ribs, the chest and upper back, sealing the right side as you exhale out of the left, releasing the belly first, then the ribs and the chest. Breathing in through the left, sealing as you meet the top of your inhale and exhaling out of the right. Taking a breath in through the right as you're ready. Sealing and exhaling out of the left. Continuing on your own breath, alternating sides after each next breath in. Finishing your final round here. And as you're ready, releasing the right hand back down to the right thigh or knee. Allowing your breath to come in naturally through both nostrils. And settling into the space that you've created. Notice when your mind is being pulled outside of you through one of your senses. Maybe it's something you hear, maybe in the room you're in or outside of the room you're in. Maybe it's through something you smell or can feel. Maybe it's an itch on your skin. Maybe it's something you can taste in your mouth. All of these senses pull us outside of ourselves. And there is a practice in yoga to refine our practice in not being pulled out. And it's called pratyahara, sense withdrawal. And you can imagine you're sitting in a chariot with 5 horses in front of you. Each horse stands for a different sense. And without discipline, the horses will be constantly moving towards things outside of them, pulling you in different directions, all while never really getting anywhere. So the more we can pull ourselves back to this practice of pratyahara, sense withdrawal, and practice disciplining ourselves to stay in one place and experience it exactly as it is, allows us to take the reins and create some influence over our own life and the direction of our mind. Bring both of your hands to the top of the mat. Challenge yourself to keep the eyes closed. Come back into a tabletop position. And we'll just incorporate some movement to bring us back into our body. So you breathe in, fill up the upper back. As you exhale, gently draw the hips back, allowing the forearms to become heavy. Allow the forehead to relax towards the ground. Allowing your inhale to guide your movement up into tabletop, finding extension in the upper back. Exhaling to draw the hips back, release the forearms down, and release the forehead. As you're ready through this movement, you can begin to gently open the eyes. And as you're ready, sitting back onto your heels. Noticing where you're at in your mental hemisphere, where you're at in your physical body, in your emotions, and then allowing whatever is present to be fully present. And going off of that example of sitting in your chariot and taking the reins of the 5 senses, the 5 horses that are trying to move in different directions, you can think of this practice as creating a really good space for yourself. We use the word sukha in yoga. In sukha, we use the imagery of an axle hole. So you can think of those old-timey wheels, and if it's carved out perfectly, you're going to have a smooth ride. But if you're in your space of dukkha, bad space, of suffering, of feeling constrained and stuck, and maybe bombarded by where you're being pulled out to, you're in that space where that axle hole is maybe a little, got some notches or some nicks along the way, and it's going to be a bumpier ride with those horses, with your senses, pulling you in different ways. So there's 2 things we work on. We work on disciplining our mind and watching where our senses are pulling us to, and then we also work on creating more of this good space so that our ride from here on to wherever we're going is nice and smooth, with intention and attention and breath and ease and wellness and wholeness. Thank you so much for practicing with me. It's been a pleasure of mine to guide you in this type of full-length class. I do hope you continue to practice with us, and maybe you even let me know how this practice went for you. If you feel really generous and liked this practice, you might even introduce it to a friend. Share it with someone if you feel called to. Thanks so much for joining me in Yoga for the Mind, a moving meditation. Your friend, Savannah. Namaste.